Entre shot. No, Grandpa. You cannot relax. It's Stalin in Russia. The Tsar relaxed. And what happened to King?
It was too late.
If he had not relaxed, the Duchess Olga Katrina would not be selling
Mr. Volkov! Mr. Volkov!
I am sorry. We go back to the pirouette.
Could you put in food on your stomach, Mr. Katrina? Yeah, that's right.
Good. Now, a little freer. A little freer with the hands. The whole body must work. Ed, help us with the music. The music must be free too. Now, yes, you are my best pupil.
Mrs. Sycamore! Mrs. Sycamore! Yes, people, did you hear that, Grandpa? Yes.
Good evening. Good evening.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Are we too early?
No. It's perfectly all right. Come on in.
Oh,
We're glad to see you.
going to be tomorrow night. Tomorrow night?
What?
No, it's perfectly all right. Just make yourselves at home.
Tony, how could you possibly?
I'm sorry. I
Really,
thought.
Tony, this is most embarrassing.
Not at all. We weren't doing a thing.
No, just a quiet evening at home.
That's all. Now, don't let it bother you. This is Alice's mother, Mrs. Sycamore.
How do you do?
And this is Alice's sister, Mrs. Carmichael, Mr. Carmichael, and
Howdy.
Mr. Kalenkov, and Mr. DePina.
How do you do?
Don't mind my costume, I'll take it right off.
Mr. DePina, would you go down and tell Mr. Kirby and Mr. Sycamore to come right up and tell him that Mr. and Mrs. Kirby are here?
Oh, and be sure to put his pants on.
Excuse me.
Please be sure.
Mrs. Kirby, may I take you out?
Oh, let me, excuse me. Let me just tell Alice dear.
What is it?
Will you come down here? We've got a surprise for you. Well, thank you. You're perfectly sure that we're not.
Oh, now don't be alarmed, Mrs. Kirby. They're perfectly harmless. Ed, take them down to the kitchen.
Oh, we're so used to them around the house.
Thank you. I'm sorry to trouble you, but snakes happen to be my least favorite.
I feel very uncomfortable about this, Tony. How could you possibly have done such a thing?
I'm sorry.
Anybody can get mixed up.
Penny, how about some dinner for these folks? They came for dinner, you know.
Oh, please don't bother. We're really not hungry at all.
Oh, it's not a bit of a bother. Ed.
Yes.
Why don't you go down to the store and get half a dozen bottles of beers and some cotton soap and some canned salmon. Do you like canned salmon, Mr. Kirby?
Please don't bother, Mrs. Sycamore. I have a little indigestion anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry. How about you, Mrs. Kirby? Do you like canned salmon?
Oh, I'm very fond of it.
Oh, we can have frankfurters if you'd rather.
Either one will do.
Oh, so Ed, why don't you go to the A&P store and get canned salmon and,
I got it all.
And, those frankfurters won't take any time at all, so.
I'll let Donald know. I hope you'll forgive my appearance.
And this is Alice's father, Mr. Sycamore.
How do you do?
What do you do?
This is Mr. Sycamore's busiest time of the year. Just before the 4th of July, he's,
I'm the most dull-witted person alive. Can you believe I thought it was tonight?
Why, Tony, I thought you... I'm so sorry, I can't imagine... why, have you all met each other?
Oh, yes, indeed.
How do you do, Alice? How do you do, Mrs. Kirby? I'm afraid I'm not very presentable.
Oh, what?
Darling, you look lovely.
Of course she does. Don't let this upset you, my dear. We've all just met each other a night sooner, that's all.
Of course. But I was planning such a nice party tomorrow night.
Well, we'll come again tomorrow.
Oh, don't worry about that, Alice. It's all been taken care of.
But Mother, what did you send out for? Because Mr. Kirby can only eat certain things.
It's all right. It's all right. No, it's not as serious as all that, just because I have a little indigestion.
Perhaps it is not indigestion at all, Mr. Kirby. Perhaps you have the stomach ulcers.
Don't be absurd, Mr. Kolenkoff.
Don't mind Mr. Kalinkoff, Mr. Kirby, but he's a Russian, and Russians tend to look on the dark side.
All right, I am Russian, but a friend of mine, a Russian, died from stomach ulcers.
Please, Mr. Kolenkoff, Mr. Kirby has indigestion, and that's all.
All right, let him wait.
Do sit down, Mr. Kirby. Make yourself comfortable.
Oh, thank you.
Has Donald come back yet? Oh,
No, he hasn't.
I'm sure he'll be back and it won't take any time at all.
So, tell me about your, hey, how are business conditions? Are you about out of this depression?
Well, yes, I think so, of course. Well, it all depends.
So you think that things are going to keep on getting better?
Oh, well, broadly speaking, yes. As a matter of fact, the industry is now operating at 62% full capacity, as against 85% in 1925. Of course, in 1929...
There was a young lady from Wheeling who had a remarkable feeling.
Excuse me, I'm just gonna see if she's all right.
That may seem a little strange to you people, but she's not fully accountable for her actions. A friend of Penny's, she came to dinner and she was overcome by the heat.
Oh yeah, some people react to it more than others.
It is awfully hot. You usually escape all this hot weather, don't you, Mrs. Kirby, up in Maine?
As a rule, I had to come down this week, however, for the flower show.
That's right. Mother wouldn't miss that for the world. That blue ribbon, that's the highlight of her year.
I once won a ribbon once, remember Alice? For raising an onion in a flower show.
It was a garden show, Essie.
Oh.
Well, why don't we have dinner soon?
No, it's quite all right. I wouldn't worry about that. Oh, hello there. What's this? Oh, I didn't know you had little children in the house.
Adorable.
No, that's mine.
Really? Well, I suppose every man has to have his hobby. Or do you use this as some sort of model of some kind?
No, I just play with it.
I see.
Maybe you'd be better off if you had a hobby like that, Dad, instead of raising orchids.
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, do tell us all about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. You know they take 6 years to blossom, don't they? Think of that.
Oh, some of them take longer than that. I've got one coming along now I've waited 10 years for.
Oh, I was just waiting for an orchid myself.
Yes. Of course, during that time, they require the most scrupulous care. I've got one, I remember one bulb I was very fond
Here we
of.
are. Do we have everything, Donald?
Yes, ma'am. Only thing is they don't have any frankfurters, so I got us some pickles, pig's feet.
Never mind, Donald. Just bring them into the kitchen. And do tell them all about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. I know they love to hear it. And excuse me?
Seems like an expensive hobby, Mr. Kirby. Raising orchids?
Well, yes, it is, but I feel if a hobby gives one sufficient pleasure, it's never expensive.
That's very true.
You see, I need something to help relieve the daily nerve strain. After a week in Wall Street, I'd go crazy if I didn't have something like that. A lot of men have yachts, just for that very reason.
Why don't they give up Wall Street?
How's that?
I was just joking.
I think it's necessary for everyone to have a hobby. Of course, it's more than a hobby, but my great solace is spiritualism.
Spiritualism? What? Mrs. Kirby, everybody knows that's a fake.
To me, Mrs. Sycamore, spiritualism is very, well, I'd rather not discuss it, Mrs. Sycamore.
You know, you have one or two hobbies of your own.
Oh, but not silly ones.
It doesn't really matter what the hobby is. I mean, the main thing is that you have one.
To be here, a hobby should improve the body as well as the mind. The Romans were a great people. Why? What was their hobby? Wrestling. In wrestling, you have to think quick with the mind and act quick with the body.
Yes, but I'm afraid wrestling is not very practical for most of us. I wouldn't make a very good showing as a wrestler.
You could be a great wrestler. You have the build for it. Look, come fighting!
Are you okay?
What are my glasses?
Mr. Kirby, your glasses, they're broken.
Oh, I am sorry, Mr. Kirby. The next time you wrestle, you will of course not wear your glasses.
I do not intend to wrestle again, Mr. Kolenko.
There goes. Why don't you sit back down here, Father?
Mr. Kulikov, how could you? Why didn't somebody stop him?
I think if you don't mind, perhaps we'd better be going.
What?
But please, Mrs. Kirby, please don't go. Please, Mr. Kirby, please don't go. I've ordered scrambled eggs and plain salad. Oh, please don't go.
I apologize if I did something wrong.
Please, Mr. Kulikov.
That's quite all right.
You were talking about
Sorry,
your
Mr. Kirby.
Let's have dinner.
Do you raise any varieties?
I'm afraid I'd quite forgotten about my orchids.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Kirby.
What did I do that was so terrible? I threw him to the ground. Did it kill him?
Please, Mr. Kulikov.
Mr. Kirby, how would you like some freshly made candies?
My doctor does not permit me to eat candy, thank you.
Oh, but they're nothing, just chocolate and coconut and marshmallow.
Essie, please.
Miss Alice. Miss Alice?
Yes, Reba?
What is it? The eggs fell down the sink.
Well, quick, make some more.
I don't have any.
Send Donald out for some.
All right.
And tell him to hurry. I'm so sorry, there'll be a little delay. Everything will be ready in just a minute.
I sure have put you people up to a lot of trouble with my stupidity, haven't I?
Not at all, Tony.
Look, why don't we all play a game of some sort while we're waiting?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Come on, Grandpa.
But Mother, Mr. Kirby and Mrs. Kirby don't want...
I have an idea. I know a wonderful trick with a glass of water.
No,
Mr. Kulikov!
Oh, but Mr. and Mrs. Kirby would love this game. It's perfectly harmless.
I'm not very good at games, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, but any fool could play this game, Mr. Kirby. All you have to do is write your name on a piece of paper.
Mother, Mr. Kirby doesn't want...
Oh, he'll love it. Now, I'm going to call out 5 words. And as I call out 5 words, you are to put down the first thing that comes to your mind. Is that clear? For instance, if I say grass, you can put down green, or whatever you think of. Or if I say chair, you can put down table. You see how simple that is, Mr. Kirby?
Come on, Father. Be a sport.
Very well, I shall be happy to play.
Now then, are you ready?
Ready.
Now, remember, you must play fair. Put down the first thing that comes into your mind.
I understand.
Everybody ready? The first word is potatoes. Potatoes. Ready for the next one? Bathroom.
Mother!
Bathroom, you got that?
Go ahead.
All ready? Lust.
Mother, this is not exactly what you...
Oh, nonsense, Alice. This word's all right.
Mother, it's not all right.
Oh, I don't know. Seems to me a perfectly fair word.
You see, Alice, you mustn't interrupt the game.
May I have that last word again, please?
Lust, Mr. Kirby.
I've got it.
This is some game, isn't it?
Shh, Grandpa. All ready? Honeymoon. Now, Essie. All right. The last word is sex.
Mother!
Everybody got sex? All right, now give me all your papers. May I have your Kirby?
What happens now?
Oh, this is the best part. Now I read out your reaction.
Oh, I see. It's really quite an interesting game, huh?
Oh, I know you'd like it. I'll read the paper first, Mr. Kirby.
Oh,
Now I'm going to read Mr. Kirby's paper. Listen, everybody. This is Mr. Kirby. Potatoes, steak. That's very good. See how they go together, steak and potatoes?
oh, I just happened to think of it.
It's very good. Bathroom, toothpaste. Well, lust, unlawful. Isn't that nice? Honeymoon, trip. Yes, and sex, male. Oh yes, of course, you are. That's really a wonderful paper, Mr. Kirby.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's more than just a game, you know. It's sort of an experiment in psychology, isn't it?
Yes, it shows how your mind works. Now, let's see how Mrs. Kirby's mind works.
Oh.
Ready? This is Mrs. Kirby. Potatoes, starch. I know what you mean, Mrs. Kirby. Oh dear. Bathroom, Mr. Kirby.
What's that?
Bathroom, Mr. Kirby.
Well, I don't quite follow that, my dear.
I just thought of you in connection with it. After all, you are in there a good deal, Anthony. Bathing and shaving. Well, you do take a long time.
Indeed. Oh, I hadn't realized I was being selfish in the matter. Go on, Mrs. Sycamore.
This is a very silly game, and I think we ought to stop it.
Yes.
No, please go on, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh yes, where was I? Lust, human.
Human? Really, Miriam?
I just meant, Anthony, that lust is, after all, a human emotion.
Well, I don't agree with you. Lust is not a human emotion, Miriam. It is depraved.
Very well, Anthony. I'm wrong.
Really, this is the most pointless game. Suppose we play 20 questions?
No, I find this game rather interesting. Please go on, Mrs. Sycamore. Will you go on? What was the next word?
Honeymoon.
Ah, yes. And what was Mrs. Kirby's answer?
Oh, honeymoon, dull.
Did you say dull?
What I meant, Anthony, was that the hot springs was not very gay that season. All those old people sitting on the porch and nothing to do at night.
Well, that was not your reaction at the time, as I recall it.
There, Father, this is just a
A
game.
very illuminating game. Go on, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, this one's all right, Mr. Kirby. Sex, Wall Street.
Wall Street? What do you mean by that, Miriam?
I don't know what I meant, Anthony, nothing.
But you must have meant something, Miriam, otherwise you wouldn't have put it down.
It was just the first thing that came into my head,
But
that's
what
all.
does it mean, Sex Wall Street?
Oh, I don't know what it means, Anthony. It's that you're always talking about Wall Street, even when we're about to I don't know what I meant. Perhaps we'd better be going. I'm sorry, Alex. This game has given me quite a headache.
I understand, Mrs. Kirby.
Yes, possibly we'd better postpone dinner if you don't mind.
Oh, but you're coming tomorrow night, aren't you?
I'm afraid we have an engagement tomorrow night.
Perhaps we'd better postpone the whole affair a little while. The hot weather and
No, I think we're being very ungracious, Father. Of course we're staying for dinner tonight.
I have a very bad headache, Tony.
Come, Tony. I'm sure everyone understands.
Well, I don't. And I think that we ought to stay.
No, Tony. I know exactly what your father means, and he's right. Mr. Kirby, I won't be in the office tomorrow. Not at all anymore.
Alice, what are you talking about?
I'm sorry, my dear. I'm very sorry. Are you ready, Miriam?
Yes, Anthony.
You mustn't mind this.
It's been very nice to have met you all.
Yes, lovely.
Are you coming, Tony?
No, Father. I'm not.
I see. Well, your mother and I will be waiting for you at home. Good night.
Good evening.
Stay right where you are. Don't move.
Everybody, what's the meaning of this? I demand an explanation. What is all this?
Shut you. Which one is it?
That's it! Hey, what are you doing? Why? What do you mean? This is an outrage!
Shut up! What's your name?
Edward Carmichael, I haven't done anything.
You haven't, huh?
This seems a little high-handed to me. What's it all about?
Department of Justice.
Oh, good heavens, J-Man!
Ed, what are you doing?
I haven't done anything.
What's the boy done, officer?
What is this all about? That doll me to the cellar?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Yes, sir, to the cellar.
Jim,
Yes, sir.
take a look upstairs and see what you find.
Okay. Don't anyone move.
I haven't done anything.
Come here, you.
Oh, Lord.
Ever see these before?
Oh, those are my circulars.
You print the stuff, huh?
Yes, ma'am. Sir.
And you put them into boxes of candy to get them into people's homes?
Oh, the luxury. Oh, I didn't mean anything wrong.
You didn't, huh? Dynamite the Capitol.
Oh, Lord.
Dynamite the White House.
Oh, good Lord in heaven.
Dynamite the Supreme Court. God is the state is God.
I didn't mean any of that. I just like to print. Isn't that right, Grandpa?
No, officer. The government's in no danger from Ed. Printing's just his hobby, that's all. He prints anything.
I refuse to stay here any longer.
Let me get my pipe, please. Let me get my pipe.
Shut up. We were right, Chief. They got enough gunpowder down there to blow up the whole city. More than we thought.
But we only
Keep still! Everybody in this house is under arrest!
Oh my God!
Shut up! All of you!
Officer, Mr. Vice.
Shut up!
Stop that. Quiet, you. Stop that. Quiet. Shh. Stop that. Quiet.
When orchids fade in the dawning, they speak of tears and goodbye.
Who's that?
That's my mother.
The pipe! The fireworks! The fireworks!
Don't know why there's no sun up in the sky. Stormy weather.
For appearances in the West Side Court this morning, after spending the night in jail, the defendants, 13 in all, were brought before Judge Callahan and given suspended sentences for manufacturing without a permit.
Yeah, and they kept me in the same cell with a stripteaser from a burlesque show.
I was in the cell with Mr. Kirby. He was mad.
Mrs. Kirby and the stripteaser, they kept fighting all night.
Hold on about Mr. Kirby here. Anthony W. Kirby, head of Kirby and Company, 62 Wall Street, who was among those apprehended, declared he was in no way interested in the manufacture of the fireworks, but refused to state why he was on the premises at the time of the raid. Mr. Kirby is a member of the Union Club, the Rackets Club, the Harvard Club, and the National Geographic Society. He certainly is a joiner.
All of them were trying to outsource something.
I suppose after all this, Mr. Tony will ever remember Miss Alice, ain't it?
No, sir, and it's too bad, too. Miss Alice sure loves that boy.
Ever notice how some folks always get themselves into trouble?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what I'm going to do with all that food out in the kitchen. I don't think there's going to be a party here tonight.
Hey, we gonna eat it anyhow?
Well, I'm cooking it, but no one's going to have an appetite.
I'm hungry.
Well, they aren't. They're all so broke up about Miss Alice.
What's she gonna wait for? Where's she going?
I don't know, mountain someplace, and she's going all right, no matter what they say. I know Miss Alice when she gets that look in her eye.
Too bad, ain't it?
Sure is.
Not even a balloon left. Look.
How's your head, Mr. DePina? Better?
Oh, yes, it's better. Is there some more olive oil out there?
It's in the salad bowl.
Thanks.
Well, she's going. Nothing anybody can say can stop her.
She isn't going to stay very long, is she, Mrs. Sycamore?
I don't know, Reva. She don't say.
Sure going to be lonely around here without her.
How you been doing, Mrs. Sycamore?
I'm all right. It's kind of upset. Perhaps if I'll do some work, I'll feel better.
Well, how about you then, Mrs. Sycamore?
She's going, Penny.
Yes. Oh.
Now, Penny.
I can't help it, Paul. Somehow I feel it's our fault.
It's mine more than yours, Penny. All these years, I've just been going along, enjoying myself, when maybe I should have been thinking more about Alice.
Don't say that, Paul. You've been a wonderful father and husband, too.
No, I haven't. If only I'd been an architect. I don't know, something Alice could have been proud of. I was thinking that all last night while looking at Mr. Kirby.
You've been so happy, Paul.
I know. And I used to think it was enough, but I'm kind of all mixed up now.
What time is she going?
Pretty soon. Train leaves 7:30.
Oh, if only she'd see Tony.
But she won't, Penny. He's been trying all day.
Where's he now?
I don't know, probably around the block again. Anyhow, she won't talk to him.
Oh, I'm sure he could convince her.
It won't help Penny.
Oh, hello, Grandpa.
Now, Penny, let the girl alone.
But Grandpa.
Suppose she goes to the Adirondacks. She'll be back. You can only take just so much Adirondacks and you come home.
Grandpa, it's been so hard.
Yes, but it has its bright side, too.
How do you mean?
Well, Mr. Kirby getting into that patrol wagon, for one thing. And the look on his face when he and Donald had to take a bath together. I'll never forget that if I live to be 100. And I'm warning you people, I intend to. If I have things like that going on.
Oh, it was even worse with Mrs. Kirby. When the matron unstripped her, there was this burlesque dancer who was singing a song while she undressed.
But Bar Harbor's sure going to see Dole to the Kirbys this summer. Need any help, Alice?
No thanks, Grandpa. I'm just going to press this.
Well, Alice.
I'll bring the big bag down once you're ready, Alice.
Thanks, Dad.
Would you like to take some candy along for the train ride?
No thanks, Essie.
Really, Alice? You could be just as alone here as you can be in the mountains. You could stay in your room all night.
No, Mother. I want to be by myself, away from everybody. I love you all, you know that. But I just have to go away for a while. Father, did you phone for a cab?
No, I didn't know you'd wanted one.
I told Mr. DePina to call a cab, didn't you?
He told me, but I forgot.
Oh, I wish I didn't live in a family that didn't always forget everything. That behaved like other people's families do. Why can't we be like other people's families? Roast beef, 2 green vegetables, doilies on the table, and, everything.
I'll see what I can do.
Oh, Tony, she's in the kitchen.
Right here.
Go get her.
Right here.
Thanks.
Anthony, please!
No, Tony, it's no use. It's no running
Upstairs!
He ran out the minute he came in.
Knock the olive oil right out of my hand. Well, I'm gonna smell kind of fishy.
How you feeling, Mr. DePenna? Hands still hurting you?
No, it's better.
Everything burnt up downstairs, huh?
Everything. My Roman costume, too.
There's a bright side to everything. All except for there's 23 years of back income taxes. I get another letter every day.
Say, what are you gonna do about that, Grandpa?
Well, I had a kind of idea yesterday. It might not work, but I'm going to try it anyhow.
What is it?
Well,
Good evening, everybody.
Oh,
Hello, Frankoff.
Forgive me, the door was open.
Come on in.
It's all right.
You will forgive my visiting today. I realized that